What's up, everybody? I want to offer some quick thoughts that were kind of inspired by a discussion that I had this evening. So I help out with a confirmation program, and I'm a small group leader, or I should say a co-leader. So we, have a small group together, and afterwards we were kind of talking about our small group and the kids who are part of it, and how can we best help them, and what is it that the Lord is asking of us, and what's he trying to do in these kids' lives. And we had a good discussion, and at the end of it we prayed, and my co-leader made just a beautiful petition, and she said, Lord, help us to be what these kids need us to be for them. And I was just really touched by that, because the desire of her heart is to be what these kids need her to be, and it got me thinking, dang, who did I need at that time in my life? Who was the person in my life that was missing, because my life could have gone any number of ways. When I was in high school, I really started to take a very bad turn. And some of you know that and others don't, but I really led a really immoral life when I was in high school, and God hit me over the head with a 2x4 the beginning of my senior year because of my mother's prayers, quite frankly. She saw the path that I was going on, and started to see how unhappy I was, and she prayed the rosary very fervently for me. And long story short, God hit me over the head with a 2x4, and I went to confession the next day, and and I'd love to share my testimony at greater length sometime, but the point of me sharing that is it's unfortunate that I allowed myself to get onto a path that necessitated me needing a 2x4. You know what I mean? And I wonder if I had particular individuals in my life at that time, what would have happened to me? What positive choices could I have made instead of the negative ones, the self-destructive ones? In other words, who was missing in my life? Who was the missing person in my life when I was growing up, or especially when I was in high school, such that that person's absence gave me a kind of handicap? And that's not to say, that other people are responsible, right, for my poor choices. That's not what I mean at all. I am responsible for my choices, right? And I think it's built into the fabric of our human nature that we need mentors, And who are our first mentors? Well, it's our mom, it's our dad, it's our older brothers and sisters, it's aunts and uncles. We need to learn from those who have walked the path, how to walk the path, and all of us have a desire to live life well, and if we don't encounter people who live life well and live life to the full, then we're going to seek satisfaction in anything that will get our attention, or we're going to seek the attention of anyone who will pay attention. I know that was the case for me. I didn't necessarily get everything that I needed, and so I sought it in bad friend groups, right? So what inspired me to do this video is I want to encourage you and encourage myself too, to be the person that you needed earlier in life, right? Like there are people in your life right now who, quite frankly, need you to mentor them. They need you to step into their life and be Christ to them. They need you to be intentional about investing in them, right? So imagine, who was it that you needed growing up? Who was it that you needed in high school, in college? You know, if you're, married and already have several kids, or if, I don't care, if you're in your 50s, 60s, or 70s, who did you need in your early career, in the middle of your career at work? Like, maybe you're somebody who had incredible mentors all throughout your life. If you're a practicing Christian, maybe you had people who discipled you really well. But most likely, if you're this far into the video, you may not have had the mentors that you needed, right? Like, think about in the early church, there were people who got to be discipled by the apostles. Imagine being Timothy or Titus, and your life mentor is the Apostle Paul. That would be awesome, right? Or the people who knew the saints, right? Like Dominic Savio. Who was his mentor? John Bosco. Saint John Bosco mentored Saint Dominic Savio. That's incredible. A saint mentored a saint. So who are you being invited to mentor? Who are you being invited to disciple? Who are you being called to invest in? So I want to invite you to really pray about that. Like, Jesus, who are you putting on my heart to invest in? Think of it this way. Like, Jesus, he changed the world. But how did he do that? Well, he invested in 12 guys, right? And even within his 12, he had 3 that he was very, very close to, right? Peter, James, and John. And even within the 3, he had the beloved disciple, who, the tradition says is John, right? So in your life, who are your 12? Maybe you take it to prayer and you write it down, and you think, yeah, I think maybe it's my nephew or my niece. Maybe it's a neighbor kid. Maybe it's your roommate, right? Maybe you know someone who is really having a hard time right now in life, whether they're younger than you or not. Like, who are you being called to invest in? Who are your 12? Who are your 3? Who is the one who is closest to your heart? That you desire, to open the treasures of your heart to. So there were people that you needed in your life who didn't step up, or who couldn't step up adequately, or themselves were wounded and hurt and didn't know how to be what you needed. Like, we're called, one, to forgive, right? But we can learn from the absence of people. We can learn the lesson of presence. Like, due to the absence of mentors, we can learn the presence of being a mentor, right? So 1, there were people that you needed in your life. 2, there are people who need you in their lives, and they are depending on your response to the Lord's invitation. They're depending on, hoping for, needing you to love them enough, to be interested in them enough, to take them seriously. and to be intentional about like pouring your life into their life, that you would want to be a life giver for them. So imagine, who did you need? Be that to those people. And third, and finally, I would just say, like, you can do this. Like, the Lord doesn't leave you alone. He doesn't call you to mentor people. He doesn't call you to disciple people and then say, like, good luck. He's with you. He's discipling you. He's teaching you. He's leading you. He's inspiring you. And he'll always give you the words that someone needs if you have a heart that's disposed and open and ready to hear his voice. Right? Jesus said, "My sheep hear my voice." You can hear his voice. You know, that's not something that you need to doubt. That when you come to prayer, when I come to prayer, when we come before God, he intends to be heard. And what you hear him give to you, what he fills your heart with, what he has given to you in your life, the treasures he's entrusted to you, like, those are not for you only. Those are for giving to the treasures in your life, like the people. Those are the true treasures. Like, the treasures he's given to you, he wants you to give to those treasured people so that they would know that they are treasured, that they are important, that they are worth the time and effort and prayers and sacrifices of someone. Like, who are you concerned about? Better yet, who do you think the Lord is concerned about in your life? And how are you being called to be what they need? You can do this. You're not alone. He's with you. He's empowering you. He's leading you. He's mentoring you. You can do this.